Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the third video lecture session of unit number first, that is part C of unit number first, Introduction to the EDA tool and VHDL programming. Now, in the last part, that is part 2, we have covered the four major parts of any VHDL program, that is packages, architecture, configuration and entity. Now the last and very important part that we are going to cover, and we will move towards our next bit, that is design libraries. So this is the fifth part of any VHDL code. Now what it means: the VHDL compilation are kept inside of a library for a subsequent simulation. That means the analyzing part or the compilation part is stored into these design libraries, and it contains packages, entities, architecture, configuration. That means all this information gathered together and stored into a library. And the point is to remember is that VHDL does not support any hierarchical libraries. Means you can have as many as you want. But again, the point is to notate that you cannot nest them. Means you cannot connect them. You can use as many as you want, but you cannot nest them. And it doesn't follow any particular hierarchy. So this is about the design libraries, and it holds packages, entities, architecture and configuration. So already we have discussed these four parts. Now this is the syntax for libraries. To open a library to access a compiled entity as a part of new VHDL design, you first need to declare the library name. You can use as many as libraries, no problem, but you cannot nest them. This is the point you can remember forever. So what is the syntax for library? So first library, then you have to define the library name, then path or directory name, and that ends with the semicolon. That semicolon indicates end of the statement, as I already told you. You can access compiled units of a VHDL library up to 3 levels of name, and the syntax is for library name, package name and item name. That means up to 3 levels you can look into that library. First you have to put the library name, then within that library which package is there, and within that package which items are there. So you can go up to the 3 levels of that VHDL library. Then now we will start with the next point, that is data objects. Now as we have discussed in our previous slides and previous lectures, that in some of the syntax we have used that data object, right, as a part of a syntax. That means which data types that we are going to use in our VHDL program. And now that we are going to discuss in this slide. A data object holds a value of a specific type. There are three classes of data objects in VHDL. That means there are three types of data that you can use in VHDL. First one is a constants, second one is a variables, and third one is a signals. So constants, variables and signal, these are the data objects that can be used in a VHDL programming. The class of the object is specified by a reserved word that appears at the beginning of the declaration of that object. That means particular data belongs to which class, that we have to declare by its name at the beginning of the that particular object. Now first type, that is constants, now that we will going to discuss. A constant is an object which is initialized to a specific value when it is created and which cannot be subsequently modified constant declarations are allowed in packages, entities, architecture, subprograms, blocks and processes. And the syntax for the same is constant, then constant name, again constant name, its type and its initial value or its value. Now the following blocks shows the example how to use that constant. So here first we have to write the constant, then constant name, that is yes, then its type, it is boolean and its value is true. Again the second way is to just character, again its name or constant name is bit vector, that means now it is of bit vector type and its value 4 down to 0, that means it's a 5-bit value. Then again you can define its value. Now the third again constant, that is MSB, then it's of integer type and its value is 5. So these are the different ways in which ways you can define the constants. Now variables, the second type of data object is variable. Now what it means, variables are used to hold temporary data. They can only be declared in a process or a subprogram in a syntax. Now constant you can define in architecture, subprogram, process, in a packages also, right? That is the case with the constant. But in case of variables, you can use that under process statement only, right? Because it is a temporary part of the program. It is not a permanent part of the program. It that presents or the whatever the value that variable holds, that valid in the process only. It cannot connected or it is not valid outside the process loop or outside the architecture. That value is valid only into a architecture part. If you want to connect particular signal or particular variable to some other program or some sub program, you have to use signals, not variables. So this is the difference between variables and signals. So what is syntax for variables? So again I will repeat, variables can be declared in a process or a sub program only. That's it. You cannot declare is a globally used, or you cannot declare the same variable within the two different programs. You can declare but you cannot connect that, right? Particular variable is used in a process statement and that validates until that process get ends. That's it. Once the process get ends, the variable also get vanished or its value whatever the value that holds will also get ends. So this is the syntax that how to declare the variable. So variable, then variable name, again the variable name, its type and value, the same as with constants. Then variable x comma y, bit, that means this type is a bit. Then variable temp, bit vector 8 down to 0. Variable delay, integer, range 0 to 15 and its value is 5. So in this way you can define the variables, that means the second data object type. Now the third type is signals. Now how to define the signals? Signals connect design entities together and communicates changes in the values between the processes. Signal connects design entities together, as we have already discussed. In a one design you can have different entities, so the signals can connect the different entities but variable cannot connect. Variable is valid only under that process statement. Once the process statement ends, the variable or that significance of that variable will also end. But signal, the same signal can be called or can be used in a different entity. So this is the difference between the variable and signal. Signals connect design entities together and communicates changes in value between processes. That means it can be used to convey the change of value between two different processes. They can be interpreted as a wire or buses in an actual circuit. Signals can be declared in a package, entities, architectures, blocks. So unlike variable, Variable you can declare in only process and sub programs, but signals again same with the constant you can declare in a packages, that means some global signals, different entities in architecture and blocks. Now this is the syntax of signal, the same signal, then signal name, then its type and its value. Now these are the example of how to define a signal. Now signal, first signal is beep, its type is bit and its value is 0. Second one signal temp, then std logic vector 8 down to 0, that means it's a standard logic signal, its type is signal count. Then third one is signal, signal name is count, it's of integer type, range 0 to 100 and its initial value is 5. So these are the different ways to represent a signal or to declare a signal. So these are the three data object types: constants, variables and signals that we have discussed. Again I will repeat in this: variables can be declared under process or in subprogram, but it cannot be declared in packages, entities, architecture or blocks, and it also cannot be used globally. Once the process get ends, that significance or the whatever the value hold by that variable will also finished or will also comes to end, means the variable is valid under only that process block. Once the process get ends, that variable significance of that variable will also come to end. But unlike signal, signal you can declare globally, the same signal you can use in two different entities, the same signal you can use to convey the change in the value with some other entity, and it can declared under packages, entities, architectures and blocks. So this is the basic difference between variables and signals. Now these are all about the data object and its types. Now we will discuss now the data types. Now here we have discussed the data objects. So don't confuse between the data types and data objects. Data objects are constants, variables and signals, and data types are different, that we are going to discuss in this slide. All the data objects in VHDL must be defined with data type. A type declaration defines the name of the type and the range of the type. Type declarations are allowed in a package declaration, then entity declaration, then different sections, then subprograms and some declaration section, enumeration in some processes. There are different types of data that can be declared in a VHDL. So first will be of enumeration types, then include types, then integer type, then predefined VHDL data type, then array types, then record types, then standard logic data types, then signed and unsigned data types, etc. So we will discuss these data types one by one in detail. Now first we will start discussion with enumeration type. Now what it means? An enumeration type is defined by listing all possible values of that type. All the values are user defined. These values can be identifier or single character literals. An identifier is a name such as blue, ball, Monday, Sunday, anything. Character literals are signal types enclosed in a quotes, such as in a single quote X, in a single quote 0, or if you want to use more than one bit, then you have to go for a double quote, in double quote 0 1 0, anything more than one bit. And its syntax is the type, then type name and its enumeration literal, then enumeration literal, where the type name is an identifier and each enumeration letter is either defined or either identified. Now these are the examples of to declaration of enumeration type of data. Now first the type name is standard logic, is and its identifier can be UX01ZWLH. That means all these letters you have to write in a single quote, or you have to define some day name, then type will be a day, is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, enumeration type of data. So these are the different ways you can define this enumeration data types. Then second will be integer types. Now this is the second type of data that you can use in a VHDL programming. Integer types are from mathematical integer. They are useful for counting, indexing and controlling loops. In most VHDL implementation, typical range is -2 147, then 483 62 647 2 plus 2 147 483 647. So wide range of integer you can use in a VHDL. Now the following statement shows the syntax for integer, then type name, then it's a range and integer range. So for integer you have to define its range, that can be from -147 483 647 to plus 2 147 483 647. Very large range of integer you can really use in VHDL programming. So here is example, then time, integer is range, whatever the maximum range that we have defined, then type count is range 0 to 10. So here you have defining a particular range that is 0 to 10, or in first case we have defined the maximum range. So this is about the integer. Now the third data type is predefined VHDL data types. Now in predefined VHDL data types, that is third data types, that again has some subtypes such as boolean, bit, character, integer. Now what are those? Now some IEEE predefined two site specific packages, that means standard and Taxito. In a standard library, each contains a standard set of types and operations. The following expression or following summary of all data types being defined in a standard package. That means whatever the standard package that we are using in VHDL, in that standard package these predefined data types are present. Now what are those? That can be of boolean type, bit type, character type and integer type. Now what is boolean? An enumeration type with two values, false and true. Logical operations and relational operations returns boolean values. Now what do you mean by bit type data? An enumeration type with two values, either 0 and 1. Logical operations can take and return bit values. Now these logical operations can be of 0 and 1 type. Now character, what it means? An enumeration type of a ASCII set, non-printing characters are represented by three-letter name. A printable characters are represented by themselves in a single quotation marks, and the fourth one will be of integer type. That integer represents positive and negative number. Range is specified from 2 147 483, that we have already defined, 2 plus 2 147 483 647 minus and 2 plus. So wide range of integer you can define in this predefined VHDL data types. So boolean, bit, character and integer, these are the four predefined data types that are present in VHDL. Now again along with this there are many more, that are natural, positive, bit vector, string, real, physical type items. So these are also some predefined data types. And again remember, all these predefined data type, where you will find this in a standard package. whatever the IEEE standard package is there in a VHDL programming, you will find all these predefined data types are present or stored in that standard IEEE package. Now, next will be the natural subtype of integers used for representing natural, that means non-negative numbers. Then positive type, what it means? Subtype of integers used for representing a positive, that means non-negative non-zero numbers. Bit vector type represents an array of bit values. It will be an array of bit values. Then string, array of characters. A string value is enclosed in a double quotation mark. That means string value is always enclosed in a double quotation mark. Now, a real predefined data type. It represents real numbers. It is range from minus 1.0 e plus 38 to plus 1.0 e plus 38. Now, physical type time, that represents time value used for simulation. For simulation purpose different, we have to use some delays, some timing values, so that physical type time represents that timing value, and that is required or that can be used for simulation purpose. Now, some data types defined in the standard packages are as follows. Now, as we have discussed, all these data types, whatever 7 to 8, 9 types we have discussed, all those are defined in some in that standard package, and these are follows. Now, first type boolean, that is true and false. Now, if it is a bit type, that can be either 0 or 1 value. Then type severity level, it is not, warning, error, failure. If type of integer, then you have to define the range. We have defined the maximum range. If it is of real type, then again you have to specify the range. It is of character type, then you can give any character such as null, eot, enq, ack, ble, anything. And all this all includes keyboard character, letters, numbers, etc. That means this character can include any type, that means hash, exclamatory mark, double quote, dollar sign, percentage, anything is comes under a character predefined data type. So these are the examples, whatever the different data types that is already there or already present in that standard package that we have to define. Now, array type. Now, what do you mean by array? Array types group one or more element of the same type together as a single project. There are different two types of arrays. What do you mean by array? It is a group of one or more elements of same type. That is mean by array, and it is of two types: constrained array type and unconstrained array type. Now, what do you mean by a constrained array type? A constrained array type is a type whose index range is explicitly defined, and the syntax for this constrained array type is type, then array type, its name, and its discrete range of constraint. Then the following block shows a typical example of this constrained array type. Now, if the discrete range is a subrange of another integer type or an enumeration, that means whatever the discrete range you have to define in as array type, it is subrange of an another integer type or it can be of enumeration type. Then the subtype indication is the type of each array element. Now, in that array element, what are the different types you are using? You have to declare its subtype in that subtype indication heading. Now, second type is unconstrained array type. Now, what do you mean by unconstrained array type? It is a type in which whose index range is not defined. That means in constrained array type, the explicitly index range is defined, but if you don't want to define its index range, then you can use unconstrained array type, and its syntax is type, then array name, then type, then its range, and of subtype indication. Now, in that block the example is shown. Suppose A1 is an array, its range is from 0 to 31 and it is of subtype, means that is of integer array. Second is a bit vector, the array name is bit vector. Then it is of natural number of bit, that means subtype indication is bit. Then it is a string, then its type name is positive range and it is of which subtype indication character, that means which predefined data you can used in that array, that is a subtype indication. Now here A1 is an array of 32 element in which each element is of type integer. The another example is bit vector and string type that are created in a standard package. So this is about the array types, constrained and unconstrained. To unseen unconstrained array type, the index range has to be specified. That means whatever the, because in unconstrained array type we are not defining any range or we are not specifying any range. So for example, if subtype B1 bit vector 3 down to 0, its variable B2 bit vector 0 to 10. Index range determines the number of element in the array and their direction, that means where it is from low to high or high down to low, low to high or high down to low. These are the two these are the two methods that you can use to indicate the index range to define array or to define the elements present in the array. Now again we will continue with the array types only. VHDL allows declaration of multiple dimensional arrays and which can be used in modeling of RAMs and ROMs. Now with the help of array you can define a multiple type array or multi-dimensional arrays also. Now this is the example of multi-dimensional arrays. What is this? First type, the array name is mat, is array, then its range, and it is of which subtype or sub indication, that is of bit type. Then for constant, the array rom, then it is of type mat and we have defined its range 0 1 0 1, whatever that you want to specify. In case of rom you can define like x, it is 4 to 0, its range is given. X variable takes the value 0 marked with bold, that means whatever the marked with bold, that value will assign to the x. So in VHDL programming, to define even an array of n numbers, it is very easy in a VHDL, unlike in C. For a C, to define particular array you have to write a very big code. Unlike VHDL, you have to use a direct comment or direct condition and you can simply, or direct syntax you can write and just you will get the array. Then the next data type is record types. Now what it means record types? Record types group one or more elements of different type together as a single object. Now difference between array and record is, array is a group of one or more elements of a same type, but in a record it can be clubbed together a different type elements. So this is the difference between array and record. Record elements can include elements of any time including array and records, that means it can also has record array also. This is the example of to how to declare record. First type, then record name is, then whatever the name you want to give to that record, that is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, anything. Then again type, holiday is a record, holiday is a record name. Then year, then integer, that means now here in a record we are defining the array, that means you can define array under record. And what is difference between array and record? Array is a group of one or two or one or more elements of same type, but record is a group of one or more element of different type and it can include array also. So this is all about the record, and the following box shows the example of record types. Then again, this is one more example how to declare the record. Then variable, integer, then range we have specified, then variable 2 its data type, then t1, then s indicates year, t2 s date, then s day, that will get 30. So under record you can specify array also. So this is the different because it is of group of one or more element of different types, right? Unlike array, array is a group of one or more element of same type, but record can club together the elements which are of different types. So record is more useful in complex programming. So this is all about the record types. Then the next predefined data type is standard logic types. Now, as we have discussed, this VHDL is a 9 valued logic. There are some 9 standard values that we are defining in this VHDL. So which are those 9 valued logic? They are specified here. To model a signal line with one or more two values, that means 0 and 1, VHDL defines 9 strengths with, in standard package the 9 values includes. That means remember, VHDL is 9 valued logic, and which are those 9 valued and that are included in this standard logic type and which is defined in the standard package. So first value is a U, that means uninitialized forcing. U means uninitialized forcing. Then x means unknown. Then 0, that means forcing to low. 1, forcing to high. Z means high. W means impedance. L means weak. H means unknown. The underscore is a weak low and weak high. A comma in a underscore is weak low and the upper line is weak high. So weak low, weak high, unknown, weak, impedance, high, forcing low, uninitialized forcing, and again unknown. So these are the 9 values that are defined in this standard logic type data, and which is comes under the standard package, and that's why this VHDL is known as a 9 valued logic. So this is about the standard logic data type. Now, similar to bit and BIT vector type, VHDL provides standard logic vector also. To use the definitions and functions of the standard logic package, the following statements have to be included in the program. So, as we have completed and as we have discussed different VHDL programs, so always we have starting our program with defining this standard IEEE library IEEE, and this standard logic file, that is IEEE standard underscore logic underscore 1164 dot all. This particular library, that means this IEEE dot std dot logic dot 1164, this standard library will hold this this standard library package will hold this all, that whatever the different data types we have discussed, right, that this standard library will hold all that information. So if you want to use this standard libraries including bit vector or this 9 valued logic, some predefined VHDL data types that we have already discussed, this all information is gathered and stored in this standard package. So before start to write any VHDL program, you have to define this standard package, that means standard logic 1164 dot all. Once you define this standard library package, you can use any of this 9 value and any of the predefined data type whatever the present and included in that standard package. So you can use in your program. So first we have to define this package. So this is about the standard logic type. Then signed and unsigned data types. Now in our next video session, that is part D, we will start our discussion with this signed and unsigned data type. For today, we will stop here only. Now again, we will summarize what we have discussed in our today's third video session of unit number first. That is, we have covered the last type, that is libraries. Then data objects we have discussed, that of three types: constant, variables and signals. Then we have moved towards the next point, that is data types. We have discussed different data types such as array, records, enumeration, right, standard logic vectors. So we have discussed all these data types, and now we are moving towards our next type, that is signed and unsigned data types. But this point we will cover in our next video session, that is fourth one, part D of unit number first. Thank you for your patient listening. Have a nice day. Stay home, stay safe. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can free to ask me via mail, or simply you can put your doubts on our WhatsApp group. I will definitely get back to you. Thank you.